This is day 16 lockdown, and we're going to discuss today Boris Johnson. He's making, again, he's up and down like a yo-yo, but then a lot of people who are suffering from this badly, that's what they like. Sometimes they have good days and then sometimes they don't. So it's just one of those things. It's consistent with most people who have been struggling with the illness. But I want to talk today about China, that the amount of games that they're playing. China's playing a lot of games right now, and I'll tell you why. China, you can't trust anything that's coming out of their mouth. There's so much going on there, it is crazy. But China's reported today to have 0 corona deaths for the first time since January. Despite the struggles with outbreaks, including in Wuhan, where dozens of residential blocks has been locked down, and just one day before the travel restrictions were set to be lifted, their death rates have barely changed in the last few weeks. Now, I've been monitoring this for quite a while, and it's the same with their infections. A lot of their things seem to have just plateaued to next to nothing. And it's been making a lot of people around the world ask the questions where actually what is going on. Now, the UK today had their highest death toll, which is near 1,000. And actually, I've got to look at the numbers again in detail. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. But they must be near 10% death rate because it's increasing beyond measures. America as well. America has been hit hardest by the death toll in one day as well. America's had 1,800 deaths yesterday. And this comes off the back of Trump and his party knowing about this at the start of the year. Remember, guys, not only this, but his advisors, which is Peter Navarro, he told him on the 29th of January that if he doesn't prepare for the virus, then the US could have a massive death toll, plus it would collapse the economy. 2 weeks later, Trump went on air and said, we only have 15 cases, we're doing well, we're going to be all right. When the weather comes in April, it's going to be warmer, we'll have no cases left. Well, bro, it's April right now, and you have 1,800 people that have died in a single day, and you have over 250,000 Americans infected. And your voters, the ones who voted for you, but the original ones who voted for you, are starting to wane. Now, this is coming off the back of Joe Biden winning the Democratic nominee. So well done to Biden, who's managed to get the ticket. All we've got to wait for now is who's going to be his running mate. What this means, obviously, is Bernie has dropped out, and he's probably done the right thing. Bernie ran a great campaign, but we're at a place right now where preparation is key for November. And Bernie understands the longer he leaves it, the harder it's going to be in order to get the Democrats to pull together, which is something they've had troubles with for a long time, but to pull together and move forward as one and back Joe Biden and help him overthrow. And I say overthrow because Trump is a dictator, yeah? So listen, good luck to Joe Biden for that, but let's move on. China, death rates have barely changed in the last few weeks. The same with their infections. But listen, these pictures, guys, I want to show you these pictures here. These pictures shows 1,700 urns which were shipped out to 14 sites. They were delivering more urns. So listen, why are they delivering urns and apparently there's no deaths? Yeah, strange. Even crazy, guys. The National Health Commission reported 32 more cases across China. But what they were saying was they weren't Chinese cases, they were arrivals from other countries. Another thing as well, which is really interesting, is China also stated that their factories were now open for business. And this is twofold. So let's talk about the first thing. The first thing is, those factories, people are now saying who work in those areas that they are just machines running and that they are completely empty. No humans inside them. And that many factories remained closed in the streets was still empty in most places. So it seems China's putting on a show for us. Yeah, so we are only seeing, guys, what they want us to see. Yeah, we're only seeing the pictures that are shown on television with their propaganda. Yeah, we're only seeing those pictures. But what we're starting to hear is people who are on the street, reporters who are on the street are reporting various things like what we just heard, that the factories have nobody in them. So machines are running, they look busy, but they ain't. The locals who are there have said the death toll is closer to 42,000, not 3,000. These are based on the Trump ideal that if you repeat a lie long enough, it will stick somewhere. Yeah, and even their numbers will at some point will be fully acceptable, because I don't hear anything from the World Health Council. And history shows, guys, that there is little price to pay for lying. Look at Donald Trump. Look at some of his poll numbers from his right wing. His right wing people don't fact check him. Everyone around the world fact checks him. He's told over 18,000 lies. He's lied every day since he's been in office. And his people, his base who vote for him, they don't care. They don't care that this guy said, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and still be president. Why would somebody say that? Why would someone, to the extent, try and tell you that they can do something so bad that they can get away with it? Is that someone you really want as your leader? Yeah? Someone who you know has said, I can do something crooked. I could do the most harsh thing, the most harsh penalty in life by taking someone's life and still not be accountable for it. Why would you vote for somebody who says that? Listen, the joke's on you. But anyway, come around November, hopefully that will all change. And people are now starting to see the truth. The second problem is the rest of the world needs their manufacturing. So listen, for some people, they might actually be happy that China are back to work in some form. Because all of the hand sanitizers, the masks, a lot of the PPE and the nylon gloves, all of this is made by China. But Spain has reported today, and not just Spain, 4 other countries have reported that they have ordered 600,000 masks and 8,000 ventilators, and that some of this stuff, up to 25% of this stuff, is faulty. That needs to be thrown away. You know, it reminds me of those pens. Remember the cheap pens that we used to get? And they used to have made in China on the box. And you take these pens out and you start to write with one, and there's no ink, and you think, maybe, you know, sometimes you got to breathe on it and then rub it a little bit to get it to work, and then you write on it, it still don't work. After 5 minutes, what do? You end up throwing the pen away, because, you know, because it's made in China, you kind of give, look, it's high manufacturing for low quality. That's why people use them. That's why most companies have moved their distributions to China, because it costs them next to nothing to produce, but the quality's low. The quality ain't that great. And this is the reason why some companies are still being able to work around in the EU, because the EU, places like Germany, Italy, Spain, UK provide some, well, UK to an extent, provide some good quality items which you can know and love, especially Germany. Yeah. So where does this leave China? They're producing items which are these masks and stuff that hardly any of them don't work. So a lot of this stuff in China is just cheap labor. It's just rubbish. Half of it we just throw away. Guys, we talk about this world is not going to be the same when this coronavirus is over. And a lot of these changes are going to be because people who have bought so much stuff is just handling crap, a lot of crap. And if 20% of your stock is no good and you have to throw them away, rather you pay a little bit more knowing you can use the full itinerary of 600,000. 600,000, guys. Yeah? 20% of 600,000 is 120,000 masks. Now, people are talking about we're running out of masks here and there. Can you imagine what a country would do with over 120,000 masks? That's the amount of faulty masks that Spain's counting up and various other countries. So listen, it doesn't pay to go the cheap way, guys. Sometimes you pay a little bit more to get what you want. And I think there could be lessons learnt there. We heard about a driver from Holloway Road. A guy actually that I don't know him personally, but I know his face because, again, going to Arsenal for over a decade, you do get used to some of these things. It's somebody I've said hello to a few times. 9 bus drivers have died in the capital after contracting the coronavirus since the outbreak began. TfL has said it's working with the union and bus operators to improve safety work for workers, but I don't think they're improving it enough. Otherwise, you wouldn't have 9 of them that have passed away. The unions called for further action, of course, and that's the reason why passengers now are only going to be able to enter through the middle of the bus. But guys, what we got to remember as well, the number of people using buses in the capital have fallen to 85%. There's only 15% of people now taking buses. And I talked about this before. The only reason why these people are taking buses on trains and putting themselves next to people who are sick and can pass on diseases is because ULEZ, yeah, and congestion charge. The fact that there are very few people out there working, I said this 2 weeks ago to London, to the mayor, to the government. Why don't you lift those stupid, ridiculous rules? Because London is at its lowest emissions in 50 years. Yeah? There's hardly anybody, there's hardly any cars on the street, there's hardly anybody that's walking around doing anything. And it's the cleanest air in London now for 5 decades. So why don't you lift the ULEZ ban? Okay, if you want to keep congestion charge, keep it, because that's still a way that you can make money. But lift the ridiculous, stupid ULEZ so that people have a way. People who are healthy and people who don't want to stand in a train packed at rush hour next to people. People who fear for their own lives. Why don't we just lift the ULEZ ban, and so those people can drive into London? Yes, they can pay a congestion charge or whatever, and just let them get there safely under their own transport. Yeah? Because, listen, even if you're sick, if you've been coughing or whatever, why would you get on the bus? Why would you do that? Why would you hashtag not stay home? If you're coughing and not feeling well and you sit on a bus and start coughing to make the bus driver get sick and then dead, that's your fault. This is the reason why people are saying stay at home. Because it's things like this, these selfish acts that are costing lives. Guys, when are we going to get it, man? When are we going to get it? Stay at home. Protect your neighbor, your partners, your friends, and people who you don't know. Love your kids. Look after your pitney them. Right back at you. Peace out, people. Speak to you soon, man. I'm out.